I noticed it before I even turned on the light. Something was off. Not loud, not obvious, just a feeling that settled over me the second I pushed open the bedroom door. Like the room had a secret it hadn't finished hiding yet. I stood in the doorway for a moment, my work bag still on my shoulder, my keys still in my hand. I had been gone for 9 hours, a full workday, plus the commute, plus a stop at the grocery store on the way home. 9 hours during which my apartment had been locked and my boyfriend Tyler had been home, working remotely, he'd said. Just another Tuesday. But the room didn't feel like a Tuesday. The first thing I noticed was the smell. Our bedroom has a particular smell. Clean cotton, the faint cedar from Tyler's side of the closet, and the lavender spray I put on the pillows every Sunday. I know that smell like you know your own name. It belongs to us. This was not that smell. The air was heavy, thick in a way that felt almost visible. Underneath it was something sweet and synthetic, a cheap floral perfume, the kind that comes in a pink bottle and tries too hard. And beneath that, something warmer, muskier, the unmistakable smell of male sweat that wasn't Tyler's. I know his smell. This wasn't it. I set my bag down slowly. The sheets were wrong. I am particular about my bed. I smooth the comforter every morning before I leave, neat corners, both pillows centered. It's a small thing, but it's mine. The bed I came home to looked like someone had made a quick attempt to fix it and hadn't quite gotten there. The comforter was pulled up, yes, but wrinkled in a way that no one achieves by sleeping in late. These were the wrinkles of stolen hours, rushed and heavy and guilty. I walked closer and pressed my palm flat against the mattress. It was warm. Not body temperature warm. Not the warmth of a sunny afternoon coming through a window. This was the forbidden heat of a surface that had held two people not long ago, close together, the way people only get when they think no one is coming home. My stomach dropped. I pulled back the comforter. The fitted sheet underneath was twisted slightly at the center, pulled loose from the corner of the mattress, the way it gets when... I stopped that thought. I smoothed the sheet with my hand and noticed the indent in the pillow on my side of the bed. My pillow, the one I sleep on every night. Someone else had used it. I don't know why I reached under it. Maybe I was looking for proof. Maybe I was hoping I was wrong, that there was some ordinary explanation for the smell, the warmth, the ruined neatness of a bed I had made with my own hands that morning. My fingers found it immediately. It was small, delicate, a single earring, a gold hoop, thin and cheap, with a tiny turquoise bead dangling from it. It sat in my palm like an accusation. It was not mine. I have never owned anything with turquoise beads. I don't even like turquoise. I stood there in my own bedroom, holding the ghost of someone else in my sheets, and I understood, with the cold, quiet clarity of a person who already knows the answer, that I was about to have the worst night of my life. I didn't plan to spy on my own husband, but sometimes the truth doesn't wait for you to be ready. I called in sick on a Thursday. It wasn't hard to fake. My voice was already flat, already hollow, the kind of voice that comes from not sleeping, from lying next to someone all night and staring at the ceiling and turning a small gold earring over and over in your fingers until 3 a.m. I told my manager I had a migraine. She said, "Feel better." I hung up and sat on the edge of the bed, and looked at the smoothed out sheets and thought, I need to know. For months, Tyler had told me he had to go into the office for team meetings every Thursday morning. He would dress up, grab his laptop, and act like he was heading to a long day of work. I believed him. I thought we were both working hard for our future. But as I sat in the dark guest room, I realized the truth. He wasn't going to any office. He was waiting for my car to pull out of the driveway so he could bring Bella over. He was using my hard-earned money to pay for a house he had turned into a secret playground. Tyler left for his morning run at 7:15, same as always. I watched him go from the hallway window. Gray shirt, earbuds in, not a worry in the world. He kissed me on the cheek before he left. His lips were warm and familiar, and I stood very still and let it happen and said nothing. The moment the door closed behind him, I moved to the guest room. It was a calculated decision. The guest room shares a wall with the master bedroom. It has a small vent near the floor, the kind that carries sound the way water carries heat, quietly, completely, without meaning to. I had discovered this by accident 2 years ago when I heard Tyler on a late work call, and every word came through the vent as clearly as if he were in the room with me. I sat on the guest bed with my back against the wall, and I waited. At 10:04 a.m., I heard the front door open. Tyler's voice came first, low and warm, relaxed in a way I hadn't heard in years. Not his business voice, not his tired evening voice. This was something older, something looser, playful, the voice of a man who had no idea he was being listened to. Then I heard Bella laugh. Bella had been cleaning our apartment every Thursday for 8 months. She was 24, friendly, always brought her own supplies. Tyler had been the one to find her. Some app, he'd said. Great reviews. I had thanked him for handling it. I had been so grateful he handled it. I pressed my back harder against the wall. Their voices dropped immediately. The muffled whispers of two people who know the apartment is supposed to be empty, who have done this enough times to have a system. I couldn't make out words, just tone, and the tone was enough to understand everything. Then came the sounds that shattered me. The creak of the bed frame, our bed frame, the one Tyler and I had carried up 3 flights of stairs together when we moved in. Slow at first, then finding a rhythm. The muffled whispers giving way to something quieter and worse. The heavy breathing that traveled through the vent and the wall and landed on me like something physical. The sound of my marriage breaking. I sat completely still. I did not cry. I did not move. I just sat there and listened to the intimate betrayal happening 12 feet away, on the other side of a wall, in the bed I had smoothed and straightened and remade every morning for 4 years. And I thought about the math of it. Every Thursday for 8 months, 32 Thursdays. 32 mornings I had gotten up, gotten dressed, kissed him goodbye, and gone to work. To the job I had taken specifically because it paid better, because we needed someone to carry the mortgage while Tyler got his business off the ground. 32 days I had paid for this apartment while Tyler turned it into his private hotel. I thought about all the Thursdays I had texted him from my desk. How's your day going, babe? And he had texted back. Quiet. Just working. Miss you. Quiet. Just working. I pressed my hands flat against the wall, the same way I had pressed it against the warm mattress the week before. and I felt the faint vibration of the bed frame on the other side. He hadn't even changed the sheets properly that first time. He had gotten lazy, comfortable, careless. That was the part that undid me, not the betrayal itself, but the casualness of it. The fact that he had stopped being careful because he had stopped being afraid of losing me. That is the cruelest thing one person can do to another. Not the lie, the part where the lie stops feeling like work. Screaming is for people who are still afraid of losing something. I had already lost it, so I walked in, calm. I waited until the apartment went quiet. Not the silence of sleep, the silence of aftermath. The kind that follows when two people run out of reasons to keep making noise. I heard low voices again, the rustling of sheets, the soft thud of feet on the hardwood floor. I stood up from the guest bed. I smoothed my shirt. I ran my fingers through my hair. I checked my face in the small mirror above the guest dresser. Dry eyes, jaw set, expression flat and unreadable. Not because I wasn't feeling anything, but because what I was feeling had moved beyond tears into something colder and much more clear. I walked to the bedroom door and opened it without knocking. They were still in the bed. Tyler was sitting up against the headboard, sheet pulled to his waist, phone in his hand. Bella was beside him, hair loose, wearing, I noticed, with a particular kind of quiet fury, the oversized navy t-shirt I had given Tyler for his birthday 2 years ago. The silence that filled the room in that moment was extraordinary. Tyler's face went the color of old paper. His mouth opened. Nothing came out. Bella pulled the sheet up to her chin and looked at the wall. Not at me, not at Tyler, just at the wall, the way people look when they know there is nothing useful to say. I looked at Bella first. "You can keep him," I said. My voice came out even, conversational, like I was discussing the weather. "But I need my keys back before you go." Bella blinked. Her hand moved to the nightstand, and she slid my spare key across it without a word. Smart girl. She understood the assignment. Then I looked at Tyler. He had found his voice by then. He said my name. He said, "Wait," and "Let me explain," and "This isn't what it looks like." The full set, delivered in the desperate, stumbling order of a man who had never prepared for this moment, because he had never truly believed it would come. I let him finish. Then I said, "I went to work every day to pay for this apartment. I paid the mortgage. I paid the utilities. I paid Bella." I paused on that last one long enough to let it land. "And you turned my home into a playground while I was at my desk, thinking I was building something." He said my name again. "Don't," I said. "I'm not angry, Tyler. I want you to understand that. I'm not standing here shaking. I'm standing here done." I pulled my phone from my back pocket and called my sister. Told her I needed to stay for a few days. She didn't ask questions. The tone of my voice told her everything. I hung up, walked to the closet, and pulled out the bag I keep on the top shelf for travel. I packed for 4 days. I took my documents, my laptop, my grandmother's ring from the jewelry box on the dresser. I did not look at him again. At the front door, I stopped, not because I was hesitating, but because I wanted to say one last thing. I turned back toward the hallway. Some people aren't looking for a home. They're just looking for a place to play. I built you a home, Tyler. That was my mistake, confusing a man who wanted a playground for a man who wanted a life. I closed the door behind me. Not a slam, not even close, just a soft, final click. The sound of a woman who had finally stopped paying for something that was never hers to begin with. The real lesson didn't come to me all at once. It came slowly, over the following weeks, in the quiet of my sister's guest room. Self-respect isn't something you find after the betrayal. It's something you practice before it, in the small moments when you choose to see clearly instead of comfortably. I had ignored the cold sheets, the cheap perfume, the earring under the pillow, because seeing the truth meant I had to act on it. Some people will take exactly as much as you allow them to take, not because they are monsters, but because you handed them the key, paid the rent, and never once checked what they were doing with the door. The most powerful thing I did that day wasn't the confrontation. It was the packing. It was the leaving. It was the decision, quiet and final and completely my own, that my self-respect was worth more than my fear of starting over. Nobody gets to make a playground out of your life unless you let them keep the key. I took mine back. Thanks for listening to my story. If you liked it, hit that subscribe button, drop a comment, and tell me where you're listening from.